All right. Good morning. We're here for our weekly Marion County Board of Commissioners meeting. It is Wednesday, August 28, 2024. It's 9:04. We're here in the Commissioners. No, we're not. We're here in the Senator's hearing room at 555 Court Street. And as always, we start with the Pledge of Allegiance. So if you'll join us. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. We have nobody signed up for public comment, even though I saw David yesterday. He said he was going to be here, so
maybe he's at the fair.
Something must have come up. He's probably at the fair working. Yeah.
Fair.
All right. Our first item is going to be under Contract Review Board. So I'm going to recess the Board of Commissioners meeting and open a Contract Review Board. And the item we're going to deal with today is juvenile. Consider approval of an order granting an exemption to the Marion County Public Contracting Rules to reinstate an expired intergovernmental agreement with Oregon Youth Authority. This will be interesting. Good morning, Director
Good morning.
Greg.
Happy last Wednesday of August. Wow.
Thanks for the reminder.
Can you believe that?
Yeah,
I
the
know.
year literally started yesterday.
Man. School starts next week for my kiddos, so we're getting busy. Good morning, Troy Gregg for the record. We are here, I am here on behalf of the Juvenile Department to consider an order granting exemption from the Marion County Public Contracting Rules pursuant to Section 10-0570, reinstatement of expired contracts, which allows an expired contract to be reinstated in full force and effect. This specific contract is an IGA with the Oregon Youth Authority, State of Oregon, for reimbursement for the law that was put into place by the legislature that requires youth to be expunged at certain rates once they automatically turn 18 for specific charges. And so this contract, this IGA, expired in January of 2024. We were continually on them, and they had given us the word that they intended to renew the contract. We, of course, are required to continue with the exemption piece of it, and so we have continued with the exemptions, and the renewing of this contract allows them to pay us the money that was designated to do each one of those exemption pieces.
Okay. Any questions, Commissioner?
I can also tell you that the reason that they said it was back, that OJD was severely backed up, and so we got this renewed contract July 22nd, 2024, when it should have been renewed January 1st.
Yeah, they're in line with Oregon Health Authority and every other agency that can't figure out how to do their job on time.
We appreciate our legal counsel.
Yeah.
That's true. Thanks for getting this
Yeah,
done.
thank you.
Expeditiously.
All right. All right. So we need to have a motion to approve that contract under the Contract Review Board.
I move to approve an order granting the exemption to the Marion County Public Contracting Rules to reinstate an expired intergovernmental agreement with the Oregon Youth Authority.
Okay, I'll second the motion. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. And that will be on the consent calendar this morning.
So, thank you,
I
everyone.
will close the
Steve.
Contract Review Board and reopen Board of Commissioners meeting. And Commissioner, if you would move the consent calendar.
I would. I move to approve the consent calendar under Finance, approve the contract of sale for the buyback of tax foreclosed property from Marion County to the prior property owner, Lynette Ruggles, tax account 540-294. Under Health and Human Services, approve the contract for services with Carroll's Group Care Home, Inc. in the not-to-exceed amount of $225,000 to provide residential services to individuals who are not Medicaid eligible or receiving Social Security income benefits retroactive to January 1, 2024 through June 30th, 2025. Approve the purchase order with Pacific WRO in the amount of $300,000 for the purchase of furniture for the Marion County Psychiatric Crisis Center through April 30th, 2027. Under Information Technology, approve the purchase order with Carasoft Technology Corporation in the amount of $119,190.96 for renewal of the Enterprise Event Management Software License effective September 23rd, 2024 through September 22nd, 2025. And approve the purchase order with CVE Technologies in the amount of $122,067.41 for the renewal of firewall support and subscription services through August 29th, 2025. Under juvenile, approve amendment number 1 to the incoming funds intergovernmental agreement with the Oregon Youth Authority to add $251,504.60 for a new contract total of $521,561.10 for the processing of expunctions of juvenile records through December 31st, 2025. And finally, under Public Works, approve the subrecipient agreement with the Jefferson Rural Fire Protection District in the amount of $252,630 for the purchase of a generator retroactive to June 6, 2023 through October 31st, 2025.
I'll second the motion. Any further discussion? The only thing I'll say is, Troy, there was a contract from June 6, 2023, a little bit later than yours that we're just approving today. Yeah, isn't that good to know? All right, any further discussion?
No?
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, all right. Our first action item today is under Community Services. Consider approval incoming funds grant with the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development in the amount of $2 million to support the Detroit Lake Marina Excavation Resiliency Project through August 31st, 2031. Larry, good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. This is, for the record, Larry Rupp with the Marion County Community Services Department. So today we are discussing the Detroit Marinas Excavation and Resiliency Project and looking at a grant agreement for some incoming funds for the project. This project is the strategic excavation of the 2 commercial marinas at Detroit Lake and then the beneficial reuse of that sediment to construct the Osprey Point Peninsula. The project's being done to help maintain an annual summer lake season of May 1st to October 1st to support the local economy. This project is estimated to create $1.2 million annually in direct and indirect economic activity throughout the region of the North Santiam Canyon, and it's also estimated to create $14.6 million in net economic gain for the region over 20 years. So it's a wonderful investment for that community. Our project schedule, right now we're here in phase 2 for completing engineering for this preferred alternative and applying for permits. And then we'll have one more boating season this next season and then go into construction at the end of the 2025 boating season and then completing it before the 2026 boating season during that reservoir drawdown period. The project's funded from a combination of federal, state, and local sources, and today's consideration for the Board of County Commissioners is this funding agreement for the 2023 congressionally directed spending request. This grant agreement comes from the 2023 Consolidated Appropriations Act, which appropriated $2 million to Marion County for this project. It's directed through the Department of Housing and Urban Development's Economic Development Initiative Community Project Funding Program. That's a mouthful.
It is, and they couldn't come up with a longer title.
It would be a long acronym.
Someone's working on it as we speak, Larry, I'm sure of it.
And so to receive these funds, Marion County, we follow a federal grant process for these appropriation funds, and then we contract with HUD through this grant agreement that's currently under consideration. And the county is proposing to use this $2 million towards excavation and transportation hard costs during construction. Do we have any questions?
I do, but are you good?
Yeah, I just appreciate that we're finally getting here. You know, this has been a project well before I became a commissioner, and I think we approved going after substantial funding in 2021, and there was some heartburn about that because of the way congressionally directed spending works. You know, some people think it's earmarks from the earmark era. I'm not sure how I feel about it, but what I do love about this is the fact that our congressmen are behind this. So when the Army Corps screws up on the water drawdown after the fact, maybe they'll have some investment in wanting to help us because they give us $2 million.
Well, yeah. I think this has been a long time coming project. It's still a long time out there. I guess the question I have, Larry, maybe we can talk about this off the record, is I got a call from Lunsky last week about the scope of the project not being effective for them. Have you heard about that recently?
Yes, I met
In
with...
the last week?
Yeah, I met with Luke last week, and then Scott as well, and then we have another meeting on Wednesday next week.
Okay, because their concern was the scope of what was going to happen on their side didn't get them to where they were going to go. And I said to Scott when I was on the phone, I just said, hey, well, what was the original plan? He was suggesting that the original plan had been cut back and it wasn't going to work for them, so.
No, it's actually, we've been following through from the same permits that were submitted in 2017 when they tried to excavate a certain area. And then we had a meeting back in February where he discussed, oh, why don't we excavate over on the other side of the river? Why don't we excavate this area upriver? And we're, maybe.
Oh,
But then,
okay, so he was trying to expand the project.
Yeah,
Okay,
so he
well,
was
we can
trying
talk
to
off the
expand the
record.
scope,
I just
and
want to
then
make sure.
We pulled it back in.
Yeah, I want to make sure that what they're going to do over there is going to work for them on that side of the marina. So anyways, it's good to get this money rolling, and appreciate all your work on this and our consultants that have been helping us. And I see Kelly and Chris back there, so thank you for community services. This will make a big difference in town.
And maybe just as a gentle reminder, it's always great to give us a heads up on ideas that are floating out there. So that way when we get those phone calls, we can be able to help support the work that you're doing. I think a lot of times, in fact, I know most of the time, because we just had this conversation where folks thought that the project was going to happen like starting next month. There's always just kind of the miscommunication, or, it takes a long time for government to get projects done. So in their mind, it's already here. So however we can be supportive in kind of being a part of your awareness helps us support you better. So that way, when he received that call, he could have said, yeah, I heard about that. Let's talk about that and help it be more efficient.
We're going to take I'm going to take Congresswoman DeReamer today on a tour. Our sheriff's going to have a couple boats, and we're going to show her a lot of issues up at Detroit. One is the 5-foot mediation for the earthquake stuff that the Army Corps is doing. We're going to talk about that, but we'll be able to take her on a little tour on the boat and show her why this is important. She's given us some money for other issues and up there, which have been really important. And our federal partners on this project have been very, very helpful. So it's really cool.
Yeah.
So, all right.
All right. Thank you, Larry.
Thank you.
I move to approve the incoming funds grant agreement with the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development in the amount of $2 million to support the Detroit Lake Marina Excavation and Resiliency Project through August 31st, 2031.
I'll second the motion. Any further discussion?
Are we going to have like some cool shovels? I feel like we should figure shovels out.
Tiny gold shovels.
I'm happy for them to be tiny. I will wear my boots down into the dirt because I think before an excavator digs a hole, we should let the community come into it because this has been.
We should find an old boat and just set it there and show it's like this
I
boat
bet one
sitting
will
on the
sink
dirt.
before the end of the week, so
Yeah.
it could still just wait there till next year because every year boats sink up there.
It'll be fun. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. Thanks, Larry. Under Public Works, consider approval of a purchase order with Deere and Company in the amount of $189,398.84 for the purchase of one 2025 John Deere 6110M cab tractor with rear and side mowers through October 17, 2027. Scott, welcome.
Good morning. For the record, my name is Scott Wilson. I'm the Road Operations Division Manager for Public Works. I'm here this morning to seek approval of PO number 930727 to Deere and Company for a 2025 John Deere 6110M cab tractor with a rear and side mower. Public Works utilizes a diversified fleet of heavy and medium equipment types to perform its road maintenance tasks. This tractor mower will provide a year-round roadside vegetation control, performing shoulder mowing and brush cutting for improved safety, sight distance, and vegetation encroachment along the roadway clear zones, areas within the right-of-way. For fiscal year 24-25, the PO amount for this tractor is $189,398.84 and was awarded through the Sourcewell Corporation, Sourcewell Cooperative Number 082923-DAC, that Marion County is a member. Funding has been approved by CIP number 25-314 for this purchase of equipment. This purchase is essential to replace an already existing piece of equipment that surpassed its useful life and will be replacing our existing 2005 John Deere tractor mower OPW 461. I'm here to answer any questions.
I don't have any questions, but not yesterday, Monday, the crew, Dave was driving a truck. I went out and met the crew that was out by my house doing, literally driving that machine.
The old tractor?
Maybe not that exact one if it doesn't work, but one exactly like it coming around. I had talked to Brian Nicholas, I think the year I bought the property, because there's, in the culverts, there's just a significant amount of mustard weed. Like, I cannot, for the life of me, get that to like, next to taking a chainsaw to it, it's a very difficult weed to manage. Anyway, he said, it's awful. And he said, oh, we have this machine that will come out there. I forgot all about it. And then I saw them on Monday coming down the road, and I ran out there. I was like, I'm so happy you're here. And the driver of the machine was like, what the heck?
Who's this?
And the guy in the pickup that was, driving behind with the flashing lights, like, stop. And then we don't have electronic windows in our rigs that they're driving. So, of course, he had to unlock the door. I opened the door, and I was like, of course we don't buy you vehicles with electronic windows. Sorry about that. Thanks for what you're doing. And he was just like, what the heck? And I was like, oh, I'm Danielle. I work at the county. And he was like, what do you do? And I told him I was a commissioner. And then he was like, oh, it's nice to meet you. And it's such a nice man. And he told me what they had been doing. And apparently several of my neighbors had come out and thanked them. So this is obviously a huge deal for farms because it's difficult. Like, I have a culvert that's pretty deep on one section of my property. And when I get in it, I'm like, I'm from the road, like shoulder level. And I try to keep it clear because it's important for the water to flow. So I'm sure this does other things, but anyway, great crew. I thought about calling you, but I'll just tell you today.
Okay, great. I'll pass it along. Thank
Yeah,
you so much.
I'm sure they won't forget.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, thank you for especially your summer crews trying to get all that work done while we still have the window to get it all done.
So much roadway.
Yeah, I noticed coming in on River Road, the city of Salem has been, it's been like 3 weeks just trying to, they've got some equipment that is digging out the trenches, right?
Yeah, and the
And
ditches all right.
flaggers out there. I don't think they're as efficient as we are, but it's been quite the work in progress, so.
No comment.
All right.
I choose to pick on the state more often than the city, but agreed.
Okay.
All right, I move to approve the purchase order with Deere and Company in the amount of $189,398.84 for the purchase of one 2025 John Deere 6110M cab tractor with rear and side mowers through October 17th, 2027.
All right. I'll second that motion. Any further discussion?
Actually, just, are we retiring something out of the fleet, or is it an
This is
addition?
replacing it's a 2005, so
Okay.
it's a almost 20-year-old tractor right now,
Yeah.
so it's in-like-kind type of replacement.
Yeah.
Okay.
Does Chad drive this thing?
He, not all the time, but sometimes we'll put him in there.
Okay.
Yeah. Unless that's a special request.
He's the guy that did it.
I can
Huh?
certainly, I can make that request if you want him in there.
No, I just remember in the snowplow, he's the guy that stuck the snowplow on Skyline Road, and I was with him one night in a storm. And then I went and did a ride-along. He was in the brush cutter, that one, not this one, but
Yeah.
the brush cutter. And he said, here, Commissioner, you want to take controls? And I go, no, I'll probably ruin this thing, right? That thing's a little more expensive, I think, than this tractor.
Yeah, a little bit more.
Yeah.
I mean, they're very expensive regardless, but I know how to operate them now. I'm a master at PTOs.
Good for you.
Which is the little mechanism on the back.
You should do a ride-along with Chad.
I should.
Yeah, he's a good guy. All
I'm
right.
not afraid of tractors.
All right, motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Thanks, Scott.
Great, thank you.
All right, the next two is Ryan. All right, slideshow. Consider approval of a contract for services with RT Vision in the not-to-exceed amount of $148,250 for electronic construction management system. Ryan, welcome.
Good morning. For the record, Ryan Cruther, Marion County Capital Projects Manager with Public Works. For the first one, I don't have a slideshow.
Oh.
The
That's
second
okay.
one I do. So this is our construction management software. It's a software we use to manage all of our road construction projects, to make sure contractors get paid accordingly. So we currently have a system. It's an Access database. This will replace that. This is a program that comes off the shelf. It has a lot of features. It'll help us be more efficient. The not to exceed amount is $148,250 for 5 years. I do have a breakdown. So they provided a cost proposal. They expect for the first year it to be $50,250 and then $24,500 for the remaining 4 years. With that, do you have any questions about this program?
Nope.
No, I guess the only question I have, because I don't think we asked it when we were talking about, this isn't like the planning, the building software, right? This
No.
has nothing to do with the battle with the state and trying to get permits and things.
No, this is purely for capital projects. This is
Okay.
really so that we can manage how much work has been done on a project, how much we owe a contractor each month. We may pay contractors in the millions each month for work they do on our road construction projects. So we track the quantities that they build. We track exactly what the cost per unit item is. This allows for that. It also allows for capital planning and being able to budget for those projects and make sure that we're keeping those budgets in line. And then it'll add some other features because these programs come off the shelf with features other jurisdictions have found helpful. So they'll help us track submittals, they'll help us track the pieces of construction that we do anyways, but just make us more efficient at doing it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
All right, I move to approve the contract for services with RT Vision in the not-to-exceed amount of $148,250 for the electronic construction management system replacement project with an ending term date of 5 years from execution.
I'll second the motion. Any further discussion?
No, that's a funny way of saying the contract end date.
Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Good. All right, Ryan, you're up next. Consider approval of engineering and related service contract with David Evans and Associates.
All right, again for the record, Ryan Cruther, Public Works Capital Projects Manager. And as you said, I'm here to talk about our Ellen Road at Butteville Road roundabout and the contract for engineering services with David Evans. The project's located in northern Marion County near the city of Donald at the intersection of Ellen Road and Butteville Road. You can see here on the map, it's just a little ways from I-5 on Ellen Road. All right, our existing conditions here. It is currently a stop-controlled intersection on Butteville and a through road on Ellen. You can see we have done some safety improvements. We've got the 2 stop signs, so additional signing versus a normal intersection. We also have a conflict warning system that flashes on Ellen Road that alerts you when somebody stopped at that stop sign. Because of the history at this intersection, we've been successful in getting all road transportation safety funding, which this original project was built with. This is kind of the next step, is this roundabout. So it's taking that and making it an even safer intersection and more functional. So this project scope includes constructing a single lane roundabout at this location. It's a rural roundabout. And so you can see we're also going to construct stormwater improvements and everything else that goes along with a federal project. This is a preliminary concept design. What we're doing right now is bringing on our design engineer. So this is what we use for our grant application. Now we're bringing on an expert at roundabouts and they'll take this, refine it, really make a project that we're happy with. So that's where we're going from here, is starting that design process. Okay, so the project budget, scope, and schedule. The not-to-exceed amount for this contract is $1,051,930.56. This is funded by 2 separate grants. One is that All Roads Transportation Safety Grant, and that has a 0% match. So the county actually does not have to provide a match, but we also received congressionally directed spending for this project, which does have a county match, which is why you see a small amount of estimated county funding in here, $25,352 for this just over $1 million contract. The contract scope, these are some highlights. I looked this morning and realized that our statement of work for this consultant's 52 pages long. So
What?
you can see kind of where that effort is coming from. We expect them to do a lot. With this project, we're doing a lot of public outreach. We're doing a lot of making sure that it works with the
Good.
farmers and truckers and everyone else who has to use this corridor. And so we want to make sure we do it right. So some of those highlights are just contract management, survey, a lot of environmental because it's federally funded, huge amount of public involvement support, utility coordination, traffic engineering, road design, and then any right-of-way appraisal reviews, negotiating that's needed to purchase any of that property from the adjacent landowners, and make sure we do it in line with the federal rules. Our schedule includes design between 2024 and 2026. Right-of-way, we anticipate in 2025. That may not mean that people see us extend offers in 25. It may be early in 26, but we want to begin the appraisal process and start down that right-of-way process.
Have you had any preliminary conversations? I'm sure you have. And how'd they go?
With the adjacent landowners. I have not been involved in them. I know typically when we apply for these grants, it's done by our traffic group. Once we begin design, that's really when it comes to my group as far as design. We tend to have a big public meeting right at the beginning of our design process so we can reach out. We have done a few meetings out for the whole corridor. We have another project that's a widening on McKay Road. And so we had the community come in, and I can tell you from the community, there was a lot of support for any safety improvements here. I believe we had at least one of the neighbors show up to that meeting and be very encouraging about this project. So
Yeah.
the extent of my interactions has been limited. I don't want to overstate that, but so far all of the response has been very positive from the farmers.
Good. I talked to a dad out here recently that was impacted by a tragic accident, and I don't believe that they're a part of the right-of-way, acquisition, but I know that they're a proponent for this. It's a very dangerous section of the road, and obviously I just want to make sure that we're doing everything we can to have the adjacent property owners participate. I know that you will, but
Yeah.
whoever's managing that, I'd love to get an update from them at some point before offers are made and we have an idea of the direction you're going.
Okay. Our project manager on this is Shane Otteson,
Okay.
who's one of our project engineers. He runs a lot of our projects, does a really good job. So we will make sure we reach out and bring
Great.
some updates to you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. This is a part of, it's interesting because I'll never forget being in the St. Paul Community Center with like standing room only people with a petition that was handed to us. Sam and I were there about the issues that were happening up in this corridor. And then we went to the legislature and, we were the first county to actually have a road that was a safety corridor with ODOT as an experiment, basically. And this is a continuation of making that area safer. And it's like you said earlier about how long it takes to get some of these things done, but this will be a really nice improvement for safety up there. And I think quality of life, just being able to turn left and get around up there without risking your stress in life. And then the other thing that's happening, I just read about, was the bypass over in, I guess it'd be Yamhill County, right?
The Newburgh Dundee bypass?
Right, that is moving forward on the interchange over on whatever road that is. So hopefully that'll help some of the congestion and some of the traffic issues that we have up there in that safety area. So
Yeah.
I wish we could, and maybe that's part of the outreach that they're going to do, but have another community meeting where we could be there and say, this is part of what you asked for a very long time ago, and I think people will be happy for that. So,
And for the people that can't imagine what it would be like to drive through it, Tumalo Road in Deschutes County has 3 of these roundabouts in agriculture spaces that are super efficient. I drive through them when I go over to my little vacation spot.
Bunch of them over there.
Yeah, there's 3 back to back.
Well,
It's
right in Sisters, coming into Sisters is a big one.
Yes, I don't love that one, so I try not to advertise it because I don't think it's as well done. But the other 3 that's on Deschutes, connects to Deschutes Market Road. is a highly agriculturally trafficked area. And even in the winter, when it's full of ice and snow, it's just, it's just safer. And typically people are flying down that road just like they do on Elin, and they have to slow down now. Otherwise they're going Dukes of Hazzard style airborne over it.
Yeah, Scott, what were you saying? There's another one going in?
At the other end of Sisters, they're putting in another round.
They are.
Is it where you turn off for Redmond back down there?
Just
Yes.
on the other side of that.
Yep.
Just west of that.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
I have a funny story about that. I'll tell you as soon as board session is over.
so, all right, I just don't go over there that often, but yeah, so they're under construction right now?
Under construction right now.
Well, I'll just tell you. So I was recently over there with my husband, and I try to bypass the main road, the traffic,
Yep, yep.
just to get through it, to get to Bend. And it turns out that stupid roundabout isn't connected. So when you come to the last road to turn left like you normally could, cannot. It's a right turn only, and so you have to go right back into Sisters, and then you have to illegally turn over some random ditch, divot in the road to go back around the Dutch Brothers to go east. It is the most ridiculous design. I can't wait for it to be done. So it's not technically a roundabout right now. It's just a giant concrete circle in the middle of the road with barriers.
Like most projects, it'll be great when it's done.
Yeah.
They could have more messaging, signage, Deschutes County. I'll have to let them know. That would not happen in Marion County. I'm sure of it. We oversight everything, which is good. Anyway, it's
All
nice
right.
that you're here and that you follow along with our conversations, Ryan.
Okay, so a $25 million roundabout, right? The total project?
No. This is, it's not a $25 million roundabout. That's okay, I'll just make the motion and then
Yeah,
I'll
would you make the
clarify the
motion
cost.
so I understand,
Scott
yeah.
Wilson's like, what's happening?
No, we're adding $1 million, right?
Okay, well, it's 25,000 is at the end. So I move to
25,000,
approve
geez.
the engineering and related services contract with David Evans and Associates in the not to exceed amount of $1,051,930.56, of which an estimated $1,026,578.03 will be provided in federal funding, and an estimated $25,352.53 will be provided by the county for engineering services for the Elin Road Northeast and Butteville Road Northeast roundabout project through December 31st, 2028.
All right, so it's $1,051,000 for engineering. What's the total cost of this project estimated to be? Or
It is
Overall
this
project.
is just the,
just over 7 million. I believe it's
Right.
7.3.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would need to go and look up that exact number, but I do know it's just over 7.
I know it's about 7 because
$7 million.
when Carl came in and said, we want 10 roundabouts, I was like, we don't have that money, buddy. Sorry.
all right.
So you get one to start.
I'll second the motion,
Okay.
and any further discussion?
No.
Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. Thanks, Ryan.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ryan. Thanks, Scott.
Okay.
Oh,
Anything else you want to talk about?
I don't think
Just
so.
get through the day?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A
Okay.
raging headache right now.
All right. Okay. Jan, thank you. Brenda, thank you. Scott, and we will adjourn.